Environment Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru says the people of Layu were consulted before a license was granted to a foreign businessman for the construction of an asphalt plant in their community. The Layu Improvement Committee is contemplating further demonstrations against the decision to grant a temporary license to Jack Gardakan for the construction of an asphalt plant in Layu.
With the government of Dominica, we have engaged Layu people in a number of occasions. In fact, up to yesterday, we invited the Layu Improvement Committee to meet with myself, the Prime Minister, and other ministry officials. And a couple of hours before they called to say that they couldn't get a quorum, whatever that means. So this whole idea of they giving the impression that we had just granted the license to Jagadakan without consultations. This is not true. We all know the situation started sometime last year, if you want to just go back a little. And back then, I think we had a little of a civil unrest back in October last year, and where the government intervened to assure that the Layu people that none of these processes would happen unless the proper procedure was followed, meaning that an EIA study be done, and then Jagada can follow the proper procedure applying for planning permission. Now the EIA, since then the EIA was done, and the EIA has ruled favorably that all the concerns that the Layu people have expressed, they really, let me not say void, okay? We as a government recognize that yes, any industry going to be set up in any area will of course give rise to concerns, health concerns, environmental concerns.
Dr. Daru says the summary of the environmental impact assessment, that's the EAI, showed that the odor from the plant is the only possible problem.
But all of these were addressed in the EIA. And in fact, the summary of the EIA showed that the only thing that might be of a little, might pose a little problem would be the whole idea of the odor from the plant. And then those of you who've been listening to the media for the past couple of weeks, I'm sure would have with some programs where a number of conditions were set up in this temporary permission that was granted to Jagadakan. And one of these conditions was that measures be put in place to take care of this odor. And if that doesn't solve the problem, that further measures be put in place. And one of the things I want to point out, especially to the Layu people, is that a very important condition that was stipulated in the temporary permission was that a monitoring committee be set up to have monthly visits to the plant, where any sign of hanky-panky going on there, of course, will be detected. And also to take this opportunity to let them know that any sign of non-compliance to these measures, to these measures and conditions set, will be seriously dealt with. So just to reassure them. Now, part of this committee, I think the Prime Minister is going to be part of the committee, and we have also given the Layu people the opportunity for the actual Layu residents to be part of this committee. So honestly, if this isn't transparency and democracy, please tell me what is.
Environment Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says there is no rift between him and the Press Secretary Sean Douglas. Douglas has not been informed about the two major press conferences, including the recent OECS summit of CARICOM ministers in Dominica.
It is not every time you see the President of the United States giving a press conference, he has his press secretary along with him. And therefore, it is up to the Prime Minister, or any minister for that matter, to decide who he invites to a press conference. And there's nothing in law or policy which says that the Prime Minister, or any minister for that matter, must have the press secretary by his side or in front of him or in the back of him when he's having a press conference. So there's nothing untoward about this, and that's it.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Douglas has been moved from the office of the Prime Minister to the Government Information Service building in Bath Estates. Minister of Constituency Empowerment Ambrose George says government is still in the process of configuring the new ministry. Mr. George says before the new ministry could get off the ground, a number of measures must be put in place.
We'll all admit that constituency empowerment in terms of a nomenclature in a ministry is something new to all of us. We are still in the process of finally configuring that aspect of that ministry. The primary functions, of course, will be to have offices for the parliamentary representatives, at every constituency, the 21 constituencies nationally. These offices will be properly equipped in terms of furniture, the accessories, and of course having personnel in place to man the office. And this will assist in terms of ensuring that the programs targeted at the constituency level will be monitored properly, and that as we progress, we will see more unfolding as far as the responsibilities and the work to be undertaken in that aspect of the ministry, the constituency empowerment aspect. So it's work in progress.
Minister for Constituency Empowerment, Sir Ambrose George. The Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation and Muller Concept, a recycling firm from California, USA, will today sign a memorandum of understanding for the recycling of solid waste from Dominica. The agreement will strengthen the corporation's mandate of protecting the environment integrity of Dominica from the improper disposal of solid waste. Kairi's Alvin Alexander has that story.
Muller Concepts has agreed to recycle all plastic material, cardboards, paper, and scrap metal from Dominica. The initiative is set to reduce the volume of waste disposed of at the Fonkole Sanitary Landfill. This also to reduce public health risk and protect the environmental integrity of the island of Dominica. The collection, storage, and disposal efforts of this initiative will target schools, householders, and public and private businesses who are generators of waste. A program for a proper collection of recyclable items from these waste generators will be launched with a pilot program in Bath Estate and Emsall area. Soon, blue bins to collect recyclables will be given to the residents and businesses in the Bath Estate and Emsall area. The corporation's theme for this venture is Recycle, Reduce and Reuse as a way forward for DSWMC. I am Alvin Alexander reporting for Kairi News.
While Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has announced the next sitting of Parliament on April 29, the movement to restore democracy is making plans of its own and will hold its next People's Parliament on April 20th. The People's Parliament is an ongoing public forum that facilitates public discussions by a range of voices on national issues. It also performs the important function of serving as a public platform for opposition parliamentarians who are boycotting the House of Assembly to discuss the issues of the day with the Dominican public. The event will commence from 6:30 p.m. at the Salisbury Government School.
In respect to Mr. Lambert has a wide range of skills and competences, and we have been very fortunate to have access to his experience. He's doing a tremendous job and has been doing so. As a matter of fact, he was functioning as my principal advisor for a long time before he was formally engaged. Mr. Nanton is assisting the Prime Minister with his day-to-day functions. As you know, Mr. Nanton is Dominica's non-resident ambassador to Libya, and he has no specific designation working in my office. His Excellency Charles Miller, who is ambassador to OECS and CARICOM, he heads the regional integration unit to coordinate all matters relating to the CSME and the OECS Economic Union, which is a very far-reaching project. Dr. Philbert Aaron, who is our national coordinator of ALBA, and we all know the tremendous arrangements we've had with ALBA since Dominica joined to ALBA, and we needed somebody to help coordinate matters relating to ALBA. Mr. Mike Jones, who is a media consultant, assists us not only in matters of communication, but also a number of other areas that the Prime Minister or the Minister of Foreign Affairs would need his services from time to time. Mr. Reginald Sevre, who has been with us as a technical officer, who reviews a number of things too, and also requests to the Prime Minister. He reviews it, he does the research and advises the Prime Minister on what appropriate action to be taken.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit said the government is currently holding discussions with its legal advisors to put in place a configuration of parliament that would allow for the voices of those who were rejected by their representatives to be heard should there be by-elections and should Labour command all 21 seats in parliament.